Felony drug charges filed for a New Mexico man caught with more than an ounce of suspected cocaine over the weekend. KNEB.TV News starts right now.
From your trusted source for news in western Nebraska and eastern Wyoming, this is KNEB.TV News. Presented by Platte Valley Companies, premier provider of financial services.
Hello, I'm Ryan Murphy. This is KNEB.TV News, powered by Platte Valley Companies. Thanks for joining me. In our top story, an Albuquerque, New Mexico man faces felony drug charges after the vehicle he was riding in was pulled over yesterday afternoon in Scottsbluff for a tinted windshield. Charges of possession of cocaine, 28 to 139 grams, a Class 1C felony, was filed against 18-year-old Cesar Chaparro Lopez. Court records say during the vehicle stop, officers detected the odor of marijuana, and a search uncovered a backpack containing about 50 grams of a white powder testing presumptive positive for cocaine, more than $3,000 cash, and a digital scale covered in white powder. Investigators say Lopez admitted to knowledge of the drugs and was booked into the Scottsbluff County Jail. His initial appearance was set for Monday afternoon in Scottsbluff County Court. Well, an effort to revive the conditional use permit application for the solar farm proposed in southwestern Scottsbluff County failed during the county commissioners' Monday meeting. Board Chair Ken Meyer placed the item on the agenda, asking if any of the three commissioners who voted against the application would offer a motion to rescind the decision from their meeting in early May. Kyle Long, the local attorney who represents Dunlea Energy, asked for specific reasons against the application and related the desire of his clients and the Preston family to keep the process alive.
The Situate Energy Project represents a unique chance for Scottsbluff County's growth to secure substantial economic growth and stability. With an investment of $800 million, this project pledges to inject over $1.4 million annually into our local economy through the nameplate capacity tax alone. In these financially challenging times, this revenue stream could significantly support essential services, infrastructure upgrades, and provide tax relief.
Commissioner Charlie Knapper said among the reasons he objected to the application was advice from a consultant who had much more experience in zoning for utility-scale renewable energy projects.
This company told us that utility-scale solar power is not listed or defined in our current zoning regulations. It goes on to say that if it is not listed or defined, it is prohibited. That is a defining principle of zoning regulations.
Commissioners Russ Reisig and Michael Blue further explained their reasons for rejecting the application, with Reisig saying it should have been the landowner that made the application, not the company leasing the land. Public comment at the end of the meeting was evenly split between those saying the county should allow the project and those thanking Knapper, Reisig, and Blue for blocking the proposal. We'll have more news right after this.
Looking for free instead of fees? Platte Valley Bank can help you keep your finances moving forward with no ATM fees. Whether you're headed to the lake, the mountains, or just to the grocery store, you can enjoy the freedom of free ATM access anywhere, anytime. Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
Better sleep and better health can be found at Western Sleep Medicine in Gering. Since 2006, Western Sleep Medicine has offered the lowest cost sleep testing either in their independent sleep laboratory or the privacy of your own home. You have control over your health care and your out-of-pocket cost. All insurance is accepted for a much lower cost than the regional option. If you need a sleep study, ask for Western Sleep Medicine. They've helped thousands of people over the years and want to help you. Western Sleep Medicine. Better sleep, better health.
Welcome back. Landowners across the state who will see a change in their property valuation for the 2024 tax year will soon see yellow postcards showing up in their mailbox. June 1st was the deadline for county assessors to put those notices in the mail, as well as announcing the overall level of valuations on each specific class of property. According to Scottsbluff County Assessor Robert Simpson, residential property values in Scottsbluff County overall came in at 92% of market value and commercial values at 93%. Both classes of agricultural land, with or without special valuation, will be at 73% of market value overall. Well, Governor Jim Pillen will cross the state this week for a pair of town halls focused on sharing information and taking questions about the state's property tax. The first town hall is scheduled Friday in Fremont, and then on Saturday, the governor will host a gathering in Scottsbluff at 2 p.m. in the Platte Valley Bank Community Room in Scottsbluff. In a statement, Pillen doubled down by saying Nebraskans across the state have made clear that they expect state leaders to solve the property tax crisis. The governor said the legislature failed to pass any meaningful property tax relief in the regular session, but they will finish it in the special session. After Saturday's town hall, Pillen is expected to attend the 2024 Cattlemen's Ball in rural Minutair. And Attorney General Mike Hilgers is helping lead a 23-state coalition, issuing a letter opposing the Biden administration's strict new energy efficiency standards for stoves and ovens. Hilgers calls the standards issued by the Department of Energy as being, quote, as out of touch as it is legally dubious, and the latest assault on household appliances.
Everything from dishwashers to ovens to stoves to dryers. Again, in furtherance of a far left climate ideology, they want to force on Americans more expensive appliances. Not let the free market decide, but more expensive appliances that work not as well.
Hilger said if you survey the American people, he expects 80% would be opposed, as the new rule will increase the cost of kitchen appliances nationwide. The new regulation was issued as a direct final rule, bypassing the normal comment period, and the letter calls on the DOE to give the states and consumers an opportunity to critique the rule before it takes effect.
Renewal by Andersen. Isn't it time to replace those old windows and doors? With mortgage interest rates where they are, investing in your home now rather than moving has never made more sense. Renewal by Andersen's legendary windows, ensemble entry doors, the entire Acclaim line of replacement windows will make your home so much more valuable, energy efficient, quieter, and secure. Please visit rbawyoming.com, call today, ask about great discounts and awesome financing options. New windows and doors from Renewal by Andersen. Isn't it time?
Life is crazy. Pain is stressful. How can anybody concentrate with these busy schedules? Now you can. This is Ben Moravec coming to you from Hydrozen, a float therapy business right here in Scottsbluff. I'm here today to let you know we now have memberships for $49 monthly. You can guarantee yourself at least one float per month. You know how floating keeps your muscles relaxed, your joints relieved, and your brain clear to think? Now you can float at a reduced rate each month. Inquire today at hydrozenfloat.com or call us at 308-63-FLOAT. Hydrozen. Unplug and recharge.
Pet waste and water don't mix. Animal waste decomposes in water, releasing nutrients, which deplete the oxygen fish and other life need to survive and encourage harmful algae growth. Animal waste also has disease-carrying bacteria, making contaminated water unusable. It's easy to prevent pet waste pollution. Simply pick up your pet's waste and dispose of it in a trash can, and avoid letting your pets defecate within 200 feet of our community's waterways. Tri-City Stormwater reminds you it's our water, our responsibility.
Welcome to this week's Cattle Call. I'm Susan Littlefield on the Rural Radio Network, and we've got a market head 3 days down as we talk about this trade on a Friday. It's end of month. It's hard to believe that tomorrow is already the 1st of June. We'll talk about what the South did, and were they the ones that kind of enticed everybody to do some selling early, and of course some softer cash. A lot to look at as we do this week's Cattle Call. So Brad, let's kind of start out. What's your thoughts on this down market we've been dealing with?
Well, first of all, you are like a trooper, okay? In case people don't know that. Okay. Susan just had her knee replaced, and here she is. We're going to talk markets anyway. Good for you. Yeah. I wish you a quick recovery and take some pain meds and go take a nap as soon as we're done, right? That's
exactly what I'm going to do.
Thank you for having me on. Yes, I think you did kind of cover the highlights of what I think is happening here. I guess let's start with the cash market, which I was disappointed when the South kind of went, traded cattle $1 lower. That's just what it was. Basically at 186 after last week was the dominant trade was at 187. I don't know why. I'd say, if I had to look at the distribution of the supply of cattle, and I'm doing my best, but of course I don't know exactly, but obviously we try hard to get information like this. The sense I get is that Texas has some cattle, not an overwhelming supply, but they have enough. Okay. So that they don't maybe have much leverage. Kansas, probably a little less supply than that. I mean, not like they're tight, but have got a few more cattle. The North, the trend is still the same. The supply of cattle here, what traditional North would be north of I-80, extremely tight. Shoaless, very small. And so you can still see that there's leverage up here a little bit in the north. The best I've heard here today is 192. Last week there was just a little bit of 93. So yeah, just a tick softer. Still much higher than what the south is getting. So I think that kind of set a little bit of an undermining undertone here to the market, perhaps. But month end, I'd hate to tell you, I used to have a statistic in front of me. How many times month end the market's lower? It's ridiculously. It's maybe 90% of the time. Don't quote me, but it seems like the vast majority of the time, as funds even up or whatever it is, there seems to be a tendency to be a little bit lower.
So do you think the South, because they kind of gave in early, do you think was part of the tone factor that leaked into the North?
For sure. Because when you got the North this much premium, it becomes a freight issue, So if you're a packer in central Nebraska, can I cheaper buy cattle out of Kansas at 186, or do I have to haul them for $5 more than that and then pay the freight on it and stuff? So certainly, now, I'm always a proponent of negotiated trade too, so the little tiny bit of cash trade that they do is so small in relation to all the formula cattle that they have down there that it still frustrates me that still seems to be what makes the headline then when they finally do trade a couple of cash cattle. But nonetheless, I throw this out there as a bit of an aside maybe, but being that we kind of glanced off and started talking about captive supply cattle. May is notorious for when people drink the Kool-Aid of the packer that, I'll give you $4 over the June. I'll give you $5 over the June. P.S. I got 192. June's are at 181.50. We're 10.5 over the June today. Okay, but anyway. My point is that if you choose to do those basis contracts, you can do whatever you want. It's free country. I don't care. But please then price the cattle. Because if you don't price the cattle, they get automatically priced the day before the thing gets expired. You don't suppose that there's a coincidence that the futures break at the end of the month. I guess it's just, I have no proof, but you talk about anecdotal. Anyway, it frustrates me. I only mention it because I'd like to help people think harder and better about maybe giving those cattle away to a packer before you do it when you believe only them. There are two sides to every slice of toast.
So I'm curious, as we get ready to hit this month of June, what are some of your thoughts that we might see moving in this cattle market?
I think we'll see generally two things. I think we're going to see, first of all, a market where the demand continues to be pretty good. Exports were good again this week. And I think domestically, whether we like it or not, there's two things about the domestic demand I think that are worth talking. I've said it before. Sorry, I'm going to say them again. I think that there's a segment of the economy or of the population that is going to eat beef. Okay. And price is not as significant to them. Now, having said that, I think the bigger thing is the one and only positive thing that I can think of out of COVID was that we moved the needle from retail to traditional, out of the H&R trade or the hotel restaurant trade where people went out for a steak. Whatever this generation is, it's Gen X or what are they anyway? These youngsters. Anyway, when they couldn't go out, they YouTube the video of how to grill a steak, right? And found out that holy cow, this is actually pretty good. In fact, it might even be better than a lot of these restaurants. And we can do this 2 or 3 times a week for the same cost that it was going out. So I do think that kind of demand has changed the spectrum a little bit. So that's the first side of it. Then the supply. Obviously you can tell I'm optimistic because of the overall supply of cattle. There's something here that I think we need to be careful about, and that is the average weights. They continue to decline so slowly. It's like they hardly are moving, right? That is the gorilla in the closet. And why are the waits this big? I don't know. I suppose I give you 14 reasons, but I think the big reason is the weather. Starting in February already, the weather was really good. I mean, we had a couple of weeks of winter, I remember too, in January. But there was no spring mud. It's still mild. It's from my own experience, I've sold calves already, 4 or 5 different deals of True Blue calves. Okay, that came real early and they were big, but still. And the performance has been crazy good. So that's why they weigh that much. And so we need to. I don't think there's enough supply of cattle here in the short term, like say for June. But as you get deeper into the summer, there's always calves. Don't forget we had big placements in October, November, and they were mostly calves. We got to make sure that we pay attention here. If we get backed up on weight and then have some more supply, obviously that's a recipe for the packer being able to gain some leverage back. I would remind you and the others that even, the bull market of my career up until this one, of course, was 2014. And go ahead, look at the charts if you want to. There was 2 big breaks in that thing, one and $14 break in the summer. And then we came back and still rallied $30 more. So it doesn't go up every day. It doesn't go down every day either, unless you're hawks. Then maybe they go down every day.
Oh, you had to get that in there, didn't you? All right. Well, grill this weekend as we kick off the month of June, and we'll catch up with you next week. But before we do that, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
712-722-0023 or kkbtrading.com. Feel better, Susan.
All right. Thanks so much. That's this week's Cattle Call. Quick reminder, commodity futures and options do involve a substantial risk of loss, not suitable to all investors. And that's the Cattle Call on the Rural Radio Network.
Welcome to Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. Whether you're a wine enthusiast, a whiskey sommelier, a tequila connoisseur, or you just love your beer, Kelly's has the best selection of what you're looking for. Family owned and operated since 1946 and right on 27th Street in Scottsbluff. Come see us today at Kelly's Liquor, your liquor cabinet. And remember to be a good neighbor. Don't drink and drive. Kelly's Liquor, West 27th Street in Scottsbluff.
Let's take a look at your community calendar, brought to you by Riverstone Bank. The community calendar is brought to you by Riverstone Bank. We're local and we love our community.
High Plains Auto Club presents the 25th annual Rock and Roll Father's Day Classic Friday, June 14th. Registration begins at 2 p.m. at the Gearing Civic Center. Welcome barbecue, cruise for cash, ice cream social. Saturday, June 15th, parade downtown Gearing at 9 a.m. Show and shine at 5 Rocks from 10 to 4 and awards banquet. To enter, go to highplainsautoclub.com or call 641-4849. This event is sponsored by Next Level Restoration, Gearing Civic Center, Rural Radio.
Tired of feeling stuck? Not sure if you are on the right track? Platte Valley Bank can help keep your finances moving forward with checking account options to fit your lifestyle and an online account chooser to make finding the right account easy. Control your financial future with helpful budgeting tools and automatic savings plans. Now is the time to enjoy the ride with Platte Valley Bank. You belong here.
And finally tonight, visitors to Scottsbluff National Monument are being reminded about a temporary closure of the Scottsbluff Summit area. The Scottsbluff Summit Road and upper portions of the popular Saddle Rock Trail will remain closed to visitors from sunrise until 10 a.m. on June 5th, 6th, or 7th for herbicide treatments. Because herbicide applications is dependent on weather conditions, the closure may happen on any of those 3 days. This will not affect the Oregon Trail Pathway or Prairie View Trails, and the Scottsbluff National Monument Visitor Center is expected to be open for regular hours. There may also be temporary closures of the North and South Overlook Trails at the summit on the monument on those days. Well, that does it for us this time. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe out there. We'll see you here next time.